Hi everyone, welcome to this short tutorial from Pathology Made Simple at Allopathology. This is the part 2 of alcoholic liver disease. In the part 1, I had discussed in detail about the pathogenesis of alcoholic liver disease. In this part, we will discuss about the morphology, the clinical features and the complications associated with alcoholic liver disease. Before understanding morphology, let us recollect what we had learned in the first part. Okay, we answered few questions, right? That is, what causes accumulation of fat within the hepatocyte? Second one, what causes hepatic injury? And third one, what causes hepatic fibrosis, right? So moving on to the morphology. First one, the first part of the alcoholic liver disease spectrum is the alcoholic steatosis, which is otherwise referred to as fatty liver. The gross appearance of fatty liver we will discuss in these headings: the size, the capsule, the margins and the color. The size is obviously very markedly enlarged. Okay, the capsule becomes tense. The margins, which normally is sharp margin, now becomes smooth and blunted. And coming to the color, it has a pale yellow appearance both on the gross examination and the external appearance as well as the cut surface. Now moving on to the microscopy, initially the fat tends to accumulate in the form of triglycerides around the nuclei. That's called as microvesicular fatty change. And as it progresses, these microvesicles tends to get enlarged and now they are referred to as macrovesicular. Okay, in the process of conversion into macrovesicular form, what happens is that the nucleus is pushed towards the periphery. Okay, so the whole hepatocyte cytoplasm is filled with neutral fat. Nucleus is pushed towards one end, and this is the macrovesicular form of fatty change. This is a microscopic section, HND stained section, where you can easily make out that there are lots and lots of fatty change in the form of both micro and macrovesicular fatty change within these hepatocytes. Now all that is empty is not fat. You have to demonstrate the presence of fat in these hepatocytes. How can you demonstrate? They can be demonstrated in the fresh unfixed tissue by means of something called frozen sections. There are various special stains which can be performed to demonstrate fat. These are Sudan 3, which stains yellow. The fat stains yellow when you perform Sudan 3 stain. It stains orange with Sudan 4. It stains red with oil red O. It stains black in both osmic acid and Sudan black B. So this is an example of oil red O stained specimen of fatty liver, section of fatty liver, where all those fat droplets are stained red in color. So this is how you demonstrate fat in the frozen sections. Now moving on to the second stage of alcoholic liver disease, that's alcoholic hepatitis. So here we need to demonstrate the presence of inflammation, right? So what is the gross appearance? Liver is enlarged, just like what we saw in steatosis. So the liver may be more firm because there will be beginning of fibrosis within these hepatic parenchyma. So on microscopy, we need to demonstrate these things. One, the hepatocyte swelling, which is also referred to as ballooning of hepatocytes, where the hepatocytes are swollen with the presence of clear cytoplasm. Okay. The next one is the hepatocyte degeneration, where there is aggregation of cytokeratin, which are nothing but the eosinophilic cytoplasmic inclusions, and these are referred to as Mallory bodies, named after American pathologist Frank Burr Mallory. Now third one is, obviously we have to see the presence of inflammation, right? So there will be a lot of neutrophils around the necrotic hepatocytes. Of course, you can see lymphocytes and plasma cells. And lastly, the fibrosis. It's a beginning of fibrosis. The fibrosis is still in the early stage where it will be perisinusoidal or pericellular in location and often begins in the zone 3. And because the collagen is laid around individual hepatocytes, the fibrosis which results is pericellular fibrosis, which is otherwise referred to as chicken wire fiber. So these are the eosinophilic inclusions within the ballooned hepatocyte, and these are Mallory bodies. So this is the presence of inflammatory cells, the neutrophils and lymphocytes around a degenerated hepatocyte. So you can see all those arrow markers are pointing towards ballooned hepatocytes, and you can see some amount of inflammatory cells here and there, right? So this is the microscopic picture of alcoholic hepatitis. Moving on to alcoholic cirrhosis, grossly entire liver is involved. Cirrhosis, by definition, entire liver is involved. In the initial stages, the nodules which are formed are micronodular, means the nodules less than 3 millimeter in diameter. Okay, the liver, the surface will be yellowish, it's fatty, and it is usually enlarged. Whereas in the later stages, after many years, the nodules tend to get enlarged and they are now referred to as macronodular, which means the nodules are more than 3 millimeter in diameter, and often the liver appears brown in color, which is most often non-fatty and shrunken. So this is the micronodular appearance, and this becomes macronodular. Yes, you can find micronodules as well. So mixture of micro and macronodular is often referred to as mixed nodular type of cirrhosis. So this is how a gross appearance of cirrhosis will be like. Microscopically, as I said, the entire liver is involved. There is loss of architecture. Okay, you cannot make out, central vein, the peripheral portal triad, and then lobules. All you find is these nodules, and these are regenerating nodules. You can find these regenerating nodules throughout the parenchyma, so surface of the liver, right? And these regenerating nodules are separated by fibrosis. So three important microscopic feature: one, loss of architecture, presence of regenerating nodules, and presence of fibrosis around these regenerating nodules. You can do a special stain called Masson's trichrome stain, which stains collagen. The collagen takes blue color in this particular stain. Okay, so this is a Masson's trichrome stain which stains collagen. Now, what are the clinical features of alcoholic liver disease? Now, let us go stage by stage. Alcoholic steatosis, most often hepatomegaly with very mild elevation of serum bilirubin and alkaline phosphatase levels. Now, coming to alcoholic hepatitis, this form of liver disease usually appears acutely following a bout of heavy drinking, where the patient presents with malaise, anorexia, upper abdominal discomfort, and tender hepatomegaly. Of course, there will be increased bilirubin, elevated serum aminotransferases, and alkaline phosphatase levels. Coming to alcoholic cirrhosis stage, initially the symptoms are non-specific. Okay, most often these patients will have anorexia, weight loss, and weakness. Hepatic failure is a feature often found in advanced cirrhotic patients. The elevated serum aminotransferases, increased bilirubin levels, variable elevation of alkaline phosphatases are serological findings, right? Now, you also find evidence of hypoproteinemia, where the globulin levels and the albumin levels are all decreased, and anemia. The mechanism of for occurrence of anemia in cirrhosis is quite complex. It could be because of sequestration due to portal hypertension, could be because of alterations in erythropoietin levels, could be because of bone marrow suppression, whatever the reason, but then these patients usually present with anemia. Okay. Now let us understand one important thing when it comes to alcoholic liver disease. The complication, it includes portal hypertension, where there is elevation of hepatic venous pressure above 7 millimeters of mercury. The causes, I'm not going to discuss in detail about the causes. It could be hepatic cause, pre-hepatic cause, and the post-hepatic cause. And the most common hepatic cause is cirrhosis. Now, whatever the cause, whether it is pre or post-hepatic or hepatic, the sequelae of portal hypertension is very important for you to understand. What are the sequelae? The sequelae includes ascites, where there is accumulation of fluid in the peritoneal cavity. And the second one is portosystemic venous shunts, which means these patients present with varices, and these varices could be esophageal varices, hemorrhoids, caput medusae, and retroperitoneal varices. And what is important to note, that one of the varices, that is esophageal varices, are most dangerous. These patients can present with massive hematemesis. The thirdly, congestive splenomegaly, and lastly, hepatic encephalopathy, because of accumulation of toxins. The accumulation of toxins is basically because of significantly reduced function of liver, where the toxins are not degraded. The toxins tends to accumulate, and then it enters the central nervous system, causing hepatic encephalopathy. So 4 manifestations or 4 sequelae of portal hypertension, including ascites, portosystemic venous shunts, congestive splenomegaly, and hepatic encephalopathy. Now, what are the causes of death in advanced cases of alcoholic liver disease? It includes hepatic coma, could be because of massive gastrointestinal hemorrhage, as I told you, rupture of esophageal varices, and thirdly, intercurrent infection. These cirrhotic patients are more prone to the development of infections. Could be because of hepatorenal syndrome, where most often it is found after a bout of alcoholic hepatitis. And lastly, hepatocellular carcinoma. So one of the important complication of cirrhosis is development of malignancies in these patients. That's hepatocellular carcinoma. So that completes alcoholic liver disease. In this part, we discussed about the morphology, the clinical features, and a bit about complications of cirrhosis, right? Thank you for watching. Hit a like button if you have liked this video. Do comment. Don't forget to subscribe and do share if you find this video useful. Thank you.